You have an opportunity to reach people you could not reach on your own by sowing, giving into a work, a ministry, an outreach that you know is touching lives outside of your personal zone. And you attend churches, you attend Bible studies or worship groups every single week or every month. And some of us are not sowing. We're not giving our substance back because we come with the opinion that what we have belongs to us. But it doesn't. You're working with resources that don't belong to you. But here's the teaching point in that verse. When we learn how to give, the Bible says God will keep your barns filled. Wow, I like this. God will make sure your barn is not empty, but it's filled. A barn that's empty is a sign or symbol of lack of productivity. Now, see, sometimes we look at an empty barn and we want to say that it represents, well, you must be cursed or you must not be walking in the blessing and the favor of God. Okay, well, let's bring some clarity to that. The real issue is if the barn is empty, it's empty because you haven't learned how to give. See, it's not so much that God doesn't favor you, God doesn't love you, or that God is withholding his blessings from you. You simply have not learned how to keep the barn filled. The lack of productivity is not a lack on God's ability to pour into your life. The lack of productivity that I'm referring to is our productiveness and our inability to give, to sow, to make sure that those around us have needs and we contribute to those needs. See, sometimes you think, well, I can't give to this person. I can't help them out. If I give to them, then I'm going to be lacking. My barn is going to be empty. But haven't you noticed that your barn is empty anyway because of a lack of productivity? Because you're not trusting God enough. Go back to the previous message. Trusting your life source enough to know that he's never going to leave your barn empty if you will learn how to honor him with your substance. Honor him with what you have been given. And stop pretending like God hasn't given you anything. Honor him. Your barn will be filled. God will make sure there's substance in your barn. You and I trying to protect our barn, trying to make sure nobody breaks into our barn, and I'm not going to give away the stuff in my barn. Eventually, you'll find yourself with an empty barn because we don't know how to give, or we haven't obeyed this life principle of giving our substance back to God. Here's the second thing that he says. Not only will your barn be filled, but I like the latter part of this verse. This is very interesting. It says, thy presses shall burst out with new wine. Thy presses shall burst out with new wine. New wine. The wine press is the process for developing or manufacturing wine. You take the grapes, the vine, and you press them in the wine press, and the end results is we get the natural juice, the natural liquid that comes from the grapes. And it says expressly that when we learn how to honor God with our substance, he will give us, and I wanted you to see the emphasis there, he will cause the wine presses to burst, literally, to burst with new wine. The presses will break forth with new wine.